Pen spinning is hard, and improving it might seem impossibly slow, unless you're a pen spinning prodigy. But what exactly is a pen spinning prodigy? Is there a definite line when you become a prodigy or not? A prodigy directly just means to having exceptional ability, but today it seems like to have taken on the meaning of improving at an increased rate compared to when comparing to most people. But what exactly is most people, and how do we measure this? This is a very hard thing to measure, but it's technically still possible. Improving can be broken down into the rate at which progress is made. But how do we measure it? Progress, or skill, in terms of pen spinning, could be measured by number of times landing a trick over number of times attempted, if measuring raw skill to perform hard tricks and linkages. If measuring aesthetic improvement, we could say number of times executed well, whatever that means for you, over total attempts. This way we can accurately measure how good you are of just spinning overall with concrete numbers. Just remember to attempt the trick, link, or combo at least 30 times when testing this. So now that we have our skill level measured, we can get improvement rate measured by taking this number when you start practicing it to this number several weeks later. The greater the difference, the faster the improvement. Now this is just the number we've been looking at when talking about improvement rate. For simplicity's sake, let's just say we're looking at 1 month's difference. Now at what level of improvement are you actually considered a prodigy? This may be arbitrary, but basic convention says the top 5% of something is considered abnormal. So this means people at the top 5% of improvement rate could be considered prodigies. Now to actually measure this, however, we would need a lot of data from many different spinners, which just isn't possible today, but is just something that's apparent improvement over time. Normally improvement only really seen after at least a week of practice, at least for linkages. Power-based spinning has a much faster rate of improvement. This is likely because with linkage-based spinning, you're aiming to reduce your errors as much as possible, which means to get as close to zero as possible. But you're never exactly at zero. With many power-based tricks, such as with continues, the goal is to get the highest number possible, which means you're getting closer and closer to infinity. This type of practice has no skill cap, and the graphs of both of them would look something like this. Now with these graphs, it's apparent why power-based spinning improves so much faster than linkage-based spinning. You get diminishing returns when practicing linkages, but exponential when practicing continuous power. That's why most people believe there are more power prodigies than linkage prodigies. But I believe this is false. I believe linkage prodigies are very real, but just not as apparently different from power prodigies. If we measure every linkage improvement rate from spinners and got the average, then the top 5% of those would be the prodigies. As someone who has been called one of the only linkage prodigies of my time, then I believe this can be somewhat measured by if you can experience a noticeable increase in improvement, even double sometimes, in linkage after just 1 hour of practicing. But this doesn't amount for any need for getting warmed up. So to be even more accurate, if you practice for 1 hour, 1 day, and then at the end of your practice session you count the number of times you've attempted the linkage and the number of times you land the linkage to your desired level, then do the same thing the next day. If your improvement rate was doubled or more, then I believe you can be considered a pen spinning prodigy, for linkages at least. But this of course depends on the linkage, and the line is still always going to be blurry because we don't have enough actual data. Now for power spinning, this may be somewhat arbitrary, but I think if your improvement is 10 times from the first day of 1 hour of practicing to the second day, then that's about prodigy level, in my opinion. But remember, this is just an estimate. Nothing is concrete. If you want to join spinners from around the world and test your skills against them, then join Spindy's Discord server. The link is in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.